Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today is the fourth day where we'll be solving a Pyspark problem in reference to a Leetcode problem. So today we have picked up a medium one, okay, and today we'll be covering some aggregate functions as well as case when statement, which is a very important topic in SQL, and we'll see that how we can convert the SQL code in Pyspark. So whoever is new to my channel, what I do is I take up a problem statement, I solve that in SQL and then convert that to Pyspark. So ultimate goal is to make Pyspark easier instead of directly solving it in Pyspark. So let's start. So today's problem, we have a table called transactions where there's a column name, type. Column names are ID, country, state, amount and trans date, and we can see the data types already. So ID is the primary key of this table, and the data is about incoming transactions, and the state column, it states that whether the transaction is approved or it is declined. So let's see the problem statement. So we have to find that for each month and country, each month and country, what are the number of transactions and the total amount that they have, and the number of approved transactions and their total amount. Okay, so let's look at the input table and the output table as well. So input table, we have the IDs, which is the primary key, so it is unique. We have the countries, we have the state, we have the amount, and we have the transaction date. Okay, and the output is, so in terms of month we have, so 2018 12. Okay, so we are taking the month from here. We have the country, we have how many transactions were there. So for US you can see there are 2 transactions, and then we have the approved count, so we have only 1 approved. Okay, that makes sense. And then we have the transaction total. So for 121 we have 2 countries, 1 approved, 1 declined. Okay, got it. And so you can see the transaction total for this. Okay, for 2018 we have 3000 amount. Okay, and then we have 2000, and then we have 2000 for the approved counts. We are not talking about the declined ones over here. Okay, so let's solve this question in SQL. So I have written this in SQL. Let me just explain what we are doing. Okay, so let me copy and paste the input and output as well, so we can solve it. Alright, okay, so what do we have to do, and what was the problem statement? The problem statement, let me copy this as well. Alright, so write a SQL query to find for each month and country the number of transactions, their total amount, number of approved transactions and their total amount. Okay, so first what we are doing is for each month. Okay, so what we are doing, we are taking the trans date, this transaction date, right? We have a column called transaction date, and we are formatting that as month. Okay, we are taking that in this format. You can see that is %y, %m, so that we are taking the month from that transaction date, and you can see in the output it needs to be in this format, y, mm, right? So that is why we are formatting the date. So this is the first column, month, and then it's simple, country, we don't have to do any transformations or logic in this, so directly selecting country. Then we have to do the number of transactions. Okay, so that is why we are doing, so we had talked about aggregate functions, so count is an aggregate function, so we will just need to count star, that will give me how many transactions were there in the table. Now one more thing is there, we have to group by also. Okay, so if you see, it's saying that find for each month and country. So here when you see in the statement itself that for each month and country find this, so your first solution approach should be to group by the month and the country, right? We have already talked about group by, you can see in the third video. So okay, so we will group by the month, and I already explained how we are getting the month, and the country. So basically first on this grouping we are selecting all these. Okay, just as simple as that. So now this calculation, so number of transactions is done, then their total amount and the number of approved transactions and their total amount. Okay, so what first we have to do, since the state column has two values, approved and declined, we have to do a case when statement. Okay, it's very simple, just bear with me. So first we see that when case when state is approved, then we'll give a value of 1, else 0, end. This is how a case when statement looks like. And whatever number we are getting, so if you see when case when state is approved, if it's 2, it is doing a sum of it. Okay, and that is the approved count. Then we have sum of amount as total transaction total amount, and again their total amount. So again state, when state is approved, then amount, else 0. Okay, and then we are doing a sum of it. So it's very simple, and then we are selecting from transactions. Group by I already mentioned. So again reiterating, grouping by the month and the country, we are doing all these calculations. Okay, so let's run the SQL query and see. Great, done. So we are getting our output as expected. Now what will I do? I will convert this into a Pyspark statement. Okay, so I've already done it. I'll just explain it to you. So I'm not going into details that how to import Spark session and everything. Just a thing that from SQL.functions we are importing column, date format, sum, count, when, because these are needed. These are the functions which is needed. You can also do a star which will import everything. Okay, and then we have the Spark session builder. All of this is explained in the video 1 if you are new to Pyspark. Okay, so now we have created a data frame. Over here we see that spark.create data frame, and we are putting the data as well as the headers. So now let me just explain this. Okay, so first thing, we are doing a df.width column. What this width column does is it adds a column. Okay, so you see in our SQL query we did an alias, right? So it was an additional column to what we have in the input. So similarly in Spark also we are adding a column with the function called width column. We are giving the name month, and then let's go to this one. So first we are doing the date format to bring about the month of it. So you see date format, same syntax, and then this is a very important syntax in Pyspark, that you have to do call of the date of the column. Okay, so this is a function. So we are doing that, and then we are specifying the format as well. Now, as I said in the SQL solution also, first we are grouping, then we are doing the calculations, then we are selecting. So similarly, the next step in Pyspark would be to group by. Now you can ask me that why didn't we group by before? The reason is that we have to group by the month, right? So for that month we have to add that column because that is not present in our data frame. So first we added the column month, and then we are grouping by, and then we are doing the aggregations, right? So aggregations, whatever was the solution, whatever was the requirement. So in the third video I mentioned that whenever you need to do some aggregations, you need to do .agg. This is a function. Okay, and then what we are doing count star dot alias. Alias means we're giving the name to this column. And then similarly what we did in SQL, when state is equal to approved. So we do not have this same as SQL, but logic wise, it's, if you see, we don't have this case when, then, these things do not come in Pyspark, but if it's a very simple one. So you see, when column of state is equal to approved, then 1. We are not mentioning then keyword, but 1, otherwise 0. Okay, and we are doing a sum, and we are aliasing that as approved count. Similarly, for this as well, we have to find the total transactional amount. So we are doing sum of call amount and we are giving the alias name. And similarly for approved total amount as well, when state is equal to approved, then then call of the amount. So whenever it is approved, it will display the value of the amount column, otherwise it's a 0, and then we are aliasing with approved total amount. So if I show this data frame, I see this output. Okay, so hope this is clear to you, and we'll meet in the next day on joins, which is a very important topic in SQL. So keep on practicing, and thank you for watching the video. Please do share with your network, with your friends, and like and subscribe. See you. Bye bye.